Hi everyone, I'm Anne, and in this video I'd like to talk about why you should use phrasal verbs on your TOEFL speaking exam. Hi, I'm Anne, and I'm a TOEFL coach, and I help you go from below 20 to above 25 in TOEFL speaking. So hit subscribe to this video to receive more information like this, and I want to help you get the score you need on your TOEFL to get into the university of your dreams. So let's get started. Phrasal verbs are a wonderful way to improve your fluency and sound more accurate and say things more efficiently when you're speaking English. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should use phrasal verbs on your TOEFL speaking exam. Not that you should use phrasal verbs after a phrasal verb and another one and another one and another one, right? That's not the idea. The idea is to use 1 or 2 in your responses just to show your mastery of the English language and to show that you have an advanced vocabulary. There's a myth that exists that people who use phrasal verbs when they're speaking English don't sound very sophisticated or educated, that they're too informal, right? Right? But the reality is that if you use phrasal verbs in your spoken English, it will help you sound very confident, and it will help you sound more accurate, and you will be able to communicate more efficiently and say things in a more natural way, right? Let me give you one example of why phrasal verbs in a response on a speaking exam like the TOEFL could be beneficial. First of all, if you say what the most disappointing thing that has ever happened to you was, right? You might say something like, oh, well, the most difficult thing that's ever happened to me was when my partner finalized our relationship. Okay? It's a very long way of explaining this. You could also just say it the same way using a phrasal verb, and you would actually sound more accurate. Let me give you an example. The most difficult and disappointing thing that has ever happened to me was when my partner broke up with me. I just used the phrasal verb to break up with in the sentence, and it expressed the idea so much more accurately and so much more clearly, and that's what we want. We want a response that's efficient. We want a response that is accurate. And if you use phrasal verbs to express some ideas in your response, it will really help your score. Okay, so that's the first reason. The first reason really has to do with efficiency and accuracy in your communication. Now, let's go on to the second reason why you should use phrasal verbs in your response. Another reason to use phrasal verbs on your TOEFL speaking exam is because it shows your ability to use a wide range of vocabulary, and it shows your mastery of words, right? Of difficult words. Like I said, not all phrasal verbs are conversational or for conversational English. There are some phrasal verbs you could use in more academic contexts. One of them is point out. When you're talking about what the lecturer says, you can say that the lecturer shows how black holes are formed. For example, you could also use point out to describe what the lecturer says or explains. So the lecturer points out that black holes absorb everything that surrounds them. So that's an example of how you could use point out, right? Another phrasal verb that's commonly used in academia is what is it? To carry out. So to carry out would mean to execute research, for example, to do research. When you are listening to lectures, many times they talk about research studies that have been carried out. They talk about previous research studies and investigations with rats, for example, in biology lectures. So it's a good idea to use carry out to describe this research. I've told my students many times that you will lose points on the TOEFL speaking exam if you repeat exactly what the lecturer says, because it shows that you do not have the ability to paraphrase concepts. Therefore, it's a great idea for you to use synonyms to describe the lecture. And the final reason to use phrasal verbs on the TOEFL speaking exam is because you sound more natural and more fluent. That confidence that comes with practice and with preparation will really show when you use phrasal verbs on the TOEFL speaking exam. Am I talking about using phrasal verb after a phrasal verb and your whole response being a series of phrasal verbs? No, I'm talking about using one or two in a response. For example, they may ask you a question about what you enjoy doing on the weekends. Well, you could talk about how much you like hanging out with your friends and how much you enjoy chatting with them and catching up with them. Catching up with is a way of saying you're asking them about their experiences, their recent experiences, and you want to know more, right? So I could say that and sound very unnatural, and my sentence could be very long and elaborate. I could say something like, I enjoy spending time with my friends and asking them questions about what they have recently experienced. Now, this response sounds a little bit too long, and it's not as natural as saying something like, I really enjoy hanging out with my friends and catching up with them about their recent adventures. Okay, this is a great way to just improve your fluency and show your ability to use a variety of vocabulary words. You sound more fluent, you sound more confident when you're using some of these expressions. For the first part of the TOEFL speaking exam, you only have 45 seconds. Therefore, the more accurate and efficiently you can express your ideas, the better you will use your time. And the more accurately you can express yourself using some great justifications, some wonderful reasons, okay, to sort of say, like, this is why I like to do this with my friends, right? Give you your two reasons. Using a phrasal verb in that reason could really show your mastery of the English language. I hope you find this useful. If you want to practice more with phrasal verbs, you can read the blog post that goes with this video. And you can also take my phrasal verbs mini email courses that I offer on my website as well. And you can use the Anki application on your phone, which is a wonderful app for language learning where you can download some decks, some phrasal verb decks to be practicing every day on a daily basis, which is really useful. And I explain how to do that on my blog post as well. So those are some great tips for you, and I hope that you also download the guide, the speaking guide on my website for TOEFL. And then you can get on my list and hear about any courses that are coming up or any great free workshops that I'm offering. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful for you.